The first shot in this war isn't fired from a weapon. It's a keystroke. A Chinese military hacker, operating from a nondescript facility outside Shanghai, executes a single command at precisely 2:47 a.m. Beijing time. 3 seconds later, California's entire power grid goes completely dark. Not a rolling blackout, not a technical malfunction. A coordinated shutdown. Substations, transformers, control systems, all simultaneously infected with sophisticated malware that's been dormant in American infrastructure for 6 years, waiting for this exact moment. Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, Sacramento. 40 million people lose electrical power simultaneously. Traffic signals die. Hospital emergency lighting activates. Generators kick in automatically. Most hospital generators can sustain operations for 12 hours, perhaps 24 if carefully managed. Then they require refueling. But fuel pumps require electricity to operate. It's a cascading failure deliberately designed by someone who understood American infrastructure vulnerabilities better than Americans themselves. Within 90 minutes, the president is awakened and rushed to the situation room. Military advisors are already assembled. The evidence is absolutely undeniable. The malware signature is distinctly Chinese military origin, specifically the PLA Strategic Support Force. The question facing everyone isn't who attacked, it's why now. And more critically, what happens next? Taiwan. That's the answer. China moved decisively on Taiwan approximately 3 hours ago. Not with a traditional military invasion, with a comprehensive naval blockade. The People's Liberation Army Navy has completely surrounded the island with hundreds of ships and submarines. The message being broadcast is crystal clear. Taiwan belongs to China. Any nation that attempts to interfere will face immediate consequences. California's power grid is merely the demonstration, a warning shot showing what interference will cost. The president faces an impossible strategic choice: defend Taiwan and risk full-scale war with a nuclear-armed superpower, or abandon Taiwan and watch the entire post-World War II international order collapse in real time. Allies are already calling frantically. Japan, South Korea, Australia, the Philippines. They're all asking the same fundamental question: if America won't defend Taiwan, will you defend us when our turn comes? The decision made is war, not formally declared through Congress, not publicly announced initially, but inevitable nonetheless. American carrier strike groups that were conducting routine patrols are immediately redirected toward the Taiwan Strait. The USS Gerald Ford, the USS Ronald Reagan. Tens of thousands of American sailors are now sailing directly toward what military strategists have wargamed thousands of times over decades. None of those theoretical war games ended favorably for anyone involved. First direct military contact happens in the contested waters of the South China Sea. A Chinese submarine fires a torpedo at an American destroyer conducting freedom of navigation operations. The torpedo is successfully intercepted by automated countermeasure systems. The destroyer immediately retaliates with depth charges. The Chinese submarine is hit but not sunk. It surfaces, visibly damaged. Crew scrambling. Chinese military aircraft scramble from artificial islands throughout the region. American F-35 fighters from the carrier groups engage them. It's the first aerial combat between great powers since 1945. 3 Chinese fighters are shot down. 1 American F-35 is hit and crashes into the ocean. The pilot successfully ejects over international waters, but is immediately recovered by a Chinese naval vessel. He becomes a prisoner of war, a valuable bargaining chip, a powerful propaganda symbol. Within hours, China broadcasts footage globally. An American fighter pilot, captured and paraded before cameras. The imagery is deliberately humiliating and devastatingly effective. Within 6 hours of that first engagement, the conflict expands dramatically beyond the Taiwan region. It has to expand. Modern warfare isn't regional anymore. It's inherently global. Chinese cyber warfare units launch massive attacks against American infrastructure targets. Water treatment facilities, financial transaction systems. The New York Stock Exchange immediately halts all trading, not because of technical problems, because the government orders it shut down preemptively. Trading during active warfare creates exploitable vulnerabilities. Currency fluctuations themselves can be weaponized. By day 2, the global economic impact is absolutely catastrophic. Not a recession, not a market correction, complete economic collapse in specific sectors. Global supply chains that route through China or depend on Chinese manufacturing completely disintegrate. Apple cannot manufacture iPhones. Tesla cannot source batteries. Walmart shelves begin emptying as Chinese consumer goods stop flowing. but the pain is mutual and severe. China desperately needs American soybeans, advanced technology, and semiconductors. Both economies are hemorrhaging value. Both civilian populations are suffering significantly. Neither government can afford to appear weak by backing down first. Cyber warfare intensifies to levels never before witnessed. Chinese hackers systematically target American telecommunications. Cell networks fail in major metropolitan areas, not everywhere simultaneously, but enough to create chaos. Emergency services struggle. 911 systems become overloaded. Meanwhile, American intelligence agencies penetrate deep into Chinese networks, deleting critical files, corrupting databases, creating administrative chaos throughout their government systems. The actual military fighting in the Taiwan Strait is brutal and costly. China attempts multiple amphibious landing operations. Taiwan, armed with decades of American weapons and training, repels them successfully, but barely. Chinese missiles rain down on Taipei continuously. Taiwan retaliates by striking mainland cities. Xiamen, Fuzhou. Civilian casualties mount on both sides. Both governments show carefully selected footage. Both claim the other deliberately targets civilians. Both are probably correct. By day 7, both nations are physically, economically, and politically exhausted. Not militarily defeated, but unable to sustain the conflict. California still lacks full power restoration. Supply shortages are severe. The American public is turning against the war. Why are we fighting for Taiwan? The question gets whispered, then spoken, then shouted. Massive protests begin. Week 2, the military stalemate is absolute and complete. American forces cannot penetrate close enough to Taiwan to effectively break the naval blockade. Chinese forces cannot capture Taiwan without accepting totally unacceptable casualty rates. Ships continue sinking. Aircraft continue being shot down. Men continue dying. Nothing strategically changes. Diplomatic back-channel communications open quietly. China offers negotiated terms. America maintains its military bases throughout the Pacific region. Taiwan maintains substantial autonomy and governance. But Taiwan formally recognizes Chinese sovereignty. It's a face-saving compromise carefully constructed. Both sides can publicly claim victory. Both sides privately know they lost. The formal agreement is reached on day 16. The war ends, not with military victory, with mutual exhaustion. American casualties, 4,000 killed, 15,000 wounded. Chinese casualties remain officially undisclosed by Beijing. Intelligence estimates range from 10,000 to 50,000 killed. Taiwanese casualties, 3,000 civilians, 2,000 military personnel. 1 year after the war, the world remains fundamentally changed. Global defense spending has doubled. Every nation is rapidly militarizing. Cyber warfare is accepted as the new permanent normal. Infrastructure everywhere is being hardened against attack. Alliance structures have been tested and reformed. International trust has evaporated. What if China and the US went to war? You'd discover that modern warfare between great powers isn't about who's militarily stronger. It's about who can endure more economic pain, more civilian suffering, more international isolation while maintaining political will to continue fighting. And the answer is, nobody truly wins. Both sides lose catastrophically. The entire world loses.